Salsa was a dance style made popular in New York City by Puerto Rican and Dominican communities around the late 60s. It was performed to the music genre that shares its name, and is a mix of different Latin and African dance styles made popular around the same time period. One man took his grandma's moves and put them on display for a magical few seasons in the Big Apple. His career was short, but had many memorable moments and achievements, all accented by the iconic dance he would perform in the end zone. Let's put Victor Cruz in the Carearview mirror. Cruz was born on November 11, 1986, in Paterson, New Jersey. Attending Paterson Catholic High School, he played wide receiver and defensive back for head coach Andrew Salome. In his senior season, Cruz racked up 15 receiving touchdowns on 42 catches, leading his team with 731 receiving yards. Paterson Catholic went in an undefeated 11-0 in a New Jersey Parochial Group 1 championship. Earning All-State honors, he had a few different colleges show him interest. He turned down Hofstra, Rutgers, Virginia, and Syracuse to join the University of Massachusetts. As a Minuteman, he was sent home twice for academic reasons, but did make his first catch against New Hampshire his redshirt sophomore year. Unfortunately, Cruz's father took his own life in 2007. Cruz would later attribute this to the drive he had to better himself as a player and a person. His junior year, he broke the 1,000 receiving yards mark, the sixth UM receiver to ever do it, and finished with 71 catches for 1,064 yards and 6 touchdowns. Following his 59 reception, 868-yard, 5-touchdown senior year, he went undrafted in 2010 NFL entry draft. The day after the draft, the New York Football Giants signed Cruz to a contract worth $1.215 million over 3 years. He needed to show out in preseason to be able to stick with the 53-man roster. Luckily, he had a game against the in-town rival Jets. On August 16th, he roasted the Jets with a 6-catch, 145-yard, 3-touchdown game. By the end of the preseason, he led the NFL in receiving yards with 297 and a lead-tying 4 touchdowns to make the roster. He played in 3 regular season games for the Giants before suffering a grade 3 hamstring tear and was placed on IR for the remainder of the season. Once the next season rolled around and his hamstring was healthy again, Cruz was thrust into the third receiver role as Steve Smith, not that one, left in free agency, and Dominic Hickson was injured. He started out slow. His first 2 games, he only recorded 2 receptions on 4 targets for 17 yards. He looked the part of the projected special teamer he was before the season began. That was until week 3 of the season against the rival Philadelphia Eagles. Cruz was targeted 5 times, which he caught 3 of, for 110 yards. This would be the first time Cruz would be able to break out the salsa, which he did twice, as his 2 scores helped lead the Giants past the Dream Team Eagles, who had beaten New York the 6 previous times they matched up. In this game, Victor was able to break some Eagle ankles and boxed out 2 more defenders on 2 of the best touchdowns of the season. He compiled 497 yards and 4 touchdowns before recording his first NFL start against the New England Patriots, where they would win 24-20 as Cruz chipped in 6 receptions for 91 yards. He went back to a non-starter role for the following 2 weeks, but in that time, he put up 212 yards and a touchdown. This practically forced the Giants to finally start Cruz for the final 6 weeks, which paid off for them big time. In those 6 starts, he caught 36 balls for 736 yards and 4 touchdowns. He had many season highlights, but his best game came in Week 17, where he racked up 178 yards and a touchdown to pull past the Dallas Cowboys 31-14 and clinch the playoff berth by winning the NFC East. By the end of the regular season, Cruz had notched 9 touchdowns on 82 catches and a franchise record 1,536 yards, a record that still stands today with only Odell Beckham Jr. coming close. However, the season didn't end there as the Giants went 9-7, winning the division and qualifying for the NFL playoffs. They met with the Atlanta Falcons in the wildcard round and blew them out 24-2, with Cruz putting up 2 receptions for 28 yards. Next up was the Packers, who got sent back down 37-20, with Cruz picking up steam as he upped his receptions and yards with 5 for 74. And then he had his playoff statement game in the NFC Championship. 10 receptions, 142 yards, which helped pull the Giants past the San Francisco 49ers and set them up for a Super Bowl matchup versus the New England Patriots. In that game, Victor Cruz was held to only 4 catches for 25 yards, but was able to catch his lone touchdown of that postseason. He scored the first touchdown of the game for either team and salsa in the end zone in honor of his grandmother, who had passed. This would be the Giants' only receiving touchdown of the game, putting them up 9-0 late in the first quarter. They would go back and forth throughout the rest of the game, but the Giants would collect their second win over the Patriots in the Super Bowl in 4 years. This was the perfect ending to Cruz's season and was selected to the All-Pro team, being 3rd in receiving in the NFL behind Calvin Johnson and Wes Welker. Following that season, and due to his trademark touchdown celebration, he was given an opportunity to appear on Dancing with the Stars, which he turned down. The New York Daily News even had a dance instructor come on and write about his salsa technique. The beginning of the 2012-2013 season, Cruz shut up fantasy football draft boards and was looking to prove that last year's success, which came out of nowhere, was not a fluke. He started the season off hot. In a Week 2 matchup with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he destroyed their secondary to a tune of 11 catches for 179 yards and a touchdown. 3 weeks later, he recorded 50 yards on 5 receptions. However, 5 of those catches went for 3 scores in a 41-27 rout of the Cleveland Browns. He recorded 5 100-plus yard games that season, and after 16 games played, which he started every single one, he had a season total of 86 catches for 1,092 yards and 10 touchdowns. The Giants once again went 9-7, but were unable to sneak into the playoffs just 1 year after winning it all. He did receive a Pro Bowl invite this season, which is a small consolation prize for not getting to defend your title, I guess. In July, Cruz was eventually able to come to an agreement on a 5-year contract worth $43 million, which was made with the intention of keeping the emerging wide receiver around into the end of his career, with the contract set to expire for the 2019 free agency, where Cruz would be 33 years old. That season, he looked to play up to his big payday. He was on pace to match his previous season totals before going down with a concussion in Week 14 against the Seahawks. He went under the knife for his knee, which he had sprained in that same game, ending his season with 14 games played, 73 receptions, 998 yards, and 4 touchdowns. He returned the following season, putting up 2 big games versus the Texans and Redskins before tearing his right patellar tendon, knocking him out for the rest of the year. He finished that season with 6 starts in all 6 games he appeared in, putting on the stat sheet 23 receptions for 337 yards and a single touchdown. In the documentary, I Am Giant, he talks about how he was trying hard to get back on the field from his knee injury and hated being on the shelf for so long. Telling reporters in August he was still not fully healthy, but was working to come back by season start. That was pushed back to Week 5 as he had inflammation in his calf, which then progressed to him having a fascia tear in his left calf due to overcompensation caused by his right knee injury. This is what sidelined him for the rest of the season, and he wouldn't play a snap in 2015. Coming back to the team in the 2016-2017 season, he was slotted as the number 2 receiver behind Odell Beckham Jr., who was now in his second year, and supplemented Cruz as the team's best receiver in his year away from the field. Cruz made his first start since October of 2014 against the Dallas Cowboys, where the Giants were able to pull out a win as Cruz hauled in 4 catches on 4 targets for 34 yards and a touchdown. He continued to put up rough numbers until he missed Week 10's matchup with the Bengals with a sore ankle. After returning, he continued to struggle from his old form. He finished the year with 39 receptions for 586 yards and 1 touchdown. He was able to catch 3 passes for 30 yards in their playoff loss against the Packers that year, of course, after appearing in that boat photo. The picture was of OBJ, Victor Cruz, Sterling Shepard, Roger Lewis, and Trey Songz, who flew down to Miami to go to some clubs, party, and ride on a boat in Tim's for some reason. They caught some flack as this was 6 days before their loss to the Packers 38-13, and the Giants haven't seen any success since this picture was taken. The offseason that followed was when Cruz finally said goodbye to the Big Apple, as he was released on Friday the 13th, 2017, due to the cap reasons. He found a home with the Chicago Bears when they signed him on May 25th for $2 million, but they cut ties with him before the season commenced that September. He was rumored to go back to the Giants as their top 4 receivers were all injured early in the season, but that ended up never materializing into anything. He announced his retirement on August 21st, 2018. He signed a 1-day deal with New York to retire as a Giant. Victor Cruz came up from a tough area of New Jersey and fought through the grief of losing his father to make it as someone in the league. He salsa'd his way into fans' hearts with his franchise record-breaking season, which looks to be going untouched for a while the way the Giants are playing now, but he wasn't able to turn it into sustained success. He ended his career with 4,549 receiving yards and 25 touchdowns. He had 3 really good seasons where he nearly cracked 1,000 yards each time and had some insane catches and contributes during that 2011 run to the Super Bowl. Cruz will not be quickly forgotten by all football fans and also Latin dance enthusiasts.